I've worked with many business owners, and they are smart enough to know that if you're thinking about selling a business, or if you have a plan to sell a business, even at the beginning that you're setting this business up, you know that eventually your ownership will end. So you're kind of beginning with the end in mind, right? You need to have a plan for that. So there are way too many technical things to think about and to talk about in a short period of time when you're getting ready to sell a business. All of those thoughts, those specific planning steps need to have taken place years in advance because you're looking to maximize shareholder value. You've got to understand the tax laws. When is the best time to do it? There's all kinds of trust techniques that need to be evaluated from an estate perspective, a tax perspective, just a broad financial planning perspective, insurance perspective. All of those things need to be addressed. But I also have 3 questions that I need every business owner to answer. Do I have enough? Have I had enough? And do I have enough to do? It's very similar to the question of do I retire? The do I have enough, that's all the stuff that you're working on years in advance. It's the calculation of how much do I actually need to get from this business, net of tax, to be able to fulfill my lifetime goals and objectives, whether it's philanthropy, lifestyle, family giving, legacy, whatever it may be, right? That's the calculation piece. Relatively straightforward us to do. Have I had enough? What I find for many of these business owners is that when they've been there a long time and they've had this vision that existed when they started, the vision begins to change. Not necessarily for bad. It's almost like if you started a flower garden and that flower garden naturally turns into a vegetable garden. They're both beautiful in and of themselves, but it's not the same vision that you started with. Is that an indication that maybe this is time for you to move on and let that new group of individuals or that other group of individuals who've been a part of this team who have this new vision take over? It might be. I find some clients resist that awareness. They are completely aware that it has changed, but they almost fight, almost like a salmon swimming upstream, to stay on and almost try to force their vision back into the minds of everyone else. There was a client I worked with probably about 3 or 4 years ago, came on board, and he had started a business in the late 80s, built it into a very large business, thousands of employees. He was not very old, in his mid-60s, but he decided the time had come when he was ready to sell. When I asked him, why now? Why are you selling? He was like, have you ever felt like a guest that's overstayed your welcome? You used to feel like you owned the house and you were the house, the person who really was the highest valued individual because of your vision. And it no longer was the case. Once he acknowledged that, accepted it, his ability to sell the business and move on to the next phase of his life was much easier. And that's number 3. Do you have enough to do? That, for many people, needs to be a very scripted answer. Yes, I'm going to go on and become a professor, an adjunct professor at this small college. Or I'm going to join this charitable organization on their board, and I'm going to do these activities every day of the week. I'm going to be a part-time, person at the nursery. Whatever it is, some people need something scripted and planned. Others are and they're very comfortable with this, and that's fine if they're like, you know what, I didn't really plan on starting a business to begin with. It just happened. Life actually can work out pretty well if you just let it happen to you. And if they're of that mindset, great. So I think that, to me, is where I spend a lot of my time with the clients, is figuring out, well, what's really the motivation behind this? And let's work on whatever we can help you with in terms of the number crunching. That's actually easy for us to do, and all the structuring and estate planning and all of that. The more challenging and the more interesting to me is going to be that non-quantifiable 3 questions that have to be answered.